Roach Riders and Indigo Angels. This is episode 2 of Klassic Koach. Today's episode takes us back to June 15th, 2006, as we dove deep into Limp Bizkit's first album, $3 Bill, Yall. In this episode, Lorin and Jenny talk about their undying love for this band, their love for Wes Borland, and the undeniable charisma of frontman Fred Durst. We establish Jenny's last experience seeing Limp Bizkit live, how Ross Robinson became the Angel, and I chime in for the first time to talk about Suicidal Tendencies. So Roach Riders, Indigo Angels, kick back, relax, grab yourself your favorite beverage from Danny at the Milk Bar, and join us as we ask that burning question: does Limp Bizkit's $3 bill belong in the nu metal canon? Welcome to Klassic Koach.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of Roach Koach, the podcast where we discover or rediscover, I guess you could say, the nu metal canon. My name is Lorin Kozlowski. Across from me, my co-host on this journey through nu metal, Jenny Bloomer.
Hello.
Are you excited for today's show?
You know what? I am. I'm very excited. This is a good one. Well, the album is a good one. I don't know about anything else. I've got a good feeling about this.
I do too. Today's album is the first Limp Bizkit album, $3 Bill, Yall. It came out in 1998. Is that correct?
Yeah.
We should probably know that.
97.
97.
97.
Okay, 1997. Not initially any sort of hit when it came out. I believe there was a big payola scam where they had to pay, or their record label paid a radio station to play Counterfeit like 50 times.
Yep, that's true.
But it worked, I guess, because it eventually people wanted to hear the song after the fact.
Yeah, I don't know if it was as much of a scandal. I mean, they admitted that it was something that was happening. Mm-hmm. I think Fred Durst said, "It wasn't cool, man, but it worked," and that does sum it up.
Now, I know when we talked about Korn in the last episode, you did not have that album. Did you own this album?
I did own this album.
Okay.
This was a big one for me.
Okay.
I saw it. It was when they used to advertise CDs that you could order on TV, like in commercials, and they played a bit of Counterfeit. And I was like, Mom, there was a time in my life where I got fed up with not being allowed to do things. And this was one of the first
you
things
put your
that
foot
I did.
down?
I did it. I put my foot down. I was like, I heard a riff that I'm going to hear again. You need to call and order this CD for me. I don't know if this is true, but in my memory, I was the first person in my school with this record. And I do remember the kids who were much cooler than me and into other shit being like, "You have that?" I'm like, yeah, it's not a big deal. This was also in my full Jinko phase.
Oh, wow.
So
full Jinko phase.
It was me living my best life, never to be seen again.
Wow.
I know.
That's great. I got it, I'd say a year after it came out. I remember it was the soundtrack to my driver's training summer.
Nice.
I remember listening to it a whole bunch. I don't remember how I first heard about Limp Bizkit. I can't remember if it was I feel like it was a story on MTV News that talked about them coming out of a toilet in their concerts. I feel like that's how I heard about them.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah. And then I remember they showed them doing Faith, not the Faith video, just them doing the song in some sort of concert. And they were like, everybody's loving it. And I was like, that sounds like fun. And then I heard Sour on the radio.
Oh.
I know. It wasn't one of any of the other songs. It was Sour. And I remember thinking, oh, I'm into this. This is something I need to check out. And then I believe it was a deal, $5 CD at Best Buy or something. It was definitely on sale. I did not pay full price.
Wow. Well, I didn't pay at all.
Oh.
My parents bought it for me.
There you go. But yeah, and I remember just being kind of blown away by it. I mean, we're going to get into the tracks shortly, but it right away basically kicks you in the face and is kind of unrelenting in a really, for me, great way.
Oh, yeah, I agree. And also, there are a couple things that I discovered when I listened to this again.
Oh, yes.
My nu metal levels are reaching unprecedented heights. But so I was reading into Limp Bizkit a little bit. I was curious about their name, because I know I read a lot of things that just said that they were just, super into, we just want to repel people. We want to go ahead and if you're like grossed out by our name or you don't like something we do, then get out of here.
Right.
So, according to Wikipedia, Durst named Limp Bizkit so that would repel listeners. And he said the name is there to turn people's heads away. A lot of people pick up the disc and go, Limp Bizkit, oh, this must suck. The thing that I really wanted to let you know are that there are other names that were considered by Durst for this band.
Please. What were the other names?
Gimp Disco.
Okay.
Split Dick Slit.
That wouldn't have worked.
Bitch Piglet, which is my favorite. And I'm thinking about just taking it. And using Bitch Piglet.
Bitch Piglet. Yeah, that's pretty good.
And there's one more.
Okay.
It's very
no.
Blood Fart.
Blood Fart.
Blood Fart.
You know what I like? I like to imagine a band meeting with a whiteboard, dry erase board, and all of these names drawn on it, or written on it, going through and seeing like, how are we feeling about Blood Fart today? You know, I mean, we're both improvisers. We've been on teams where
worse names than that.
But also, you know that the debate to even get to that name, is fraught with peril.
Yeah, I imagine a whiteboard with like all of these names written on it, and then Fred Durst is like, everybody gets 3 votes, and they all went up and like put little votes, and Limp Bizkit was the one that eventually had the most buy-in from the team.
I remember an interview they did in Spin. It was a picture of Sam Rivers, the bassist, and under it had like, you know, one of those little blurbs, and the blurb I believe said something to the effect of, somebody said Gimp Disket, and then someone said, what about Limp Bizkit, and that was it. And I've always kind of liked that origin of it, because I like the idea of them just all, I imagine everybody sitting around drunk and stoned, and someone's like, you guys, we got a show tomorrow, we don't have a name. And then one guy goes, Gimp Disket. And another guy goes, Limp Bizkit. And they go, all right, done. And everybody goes to bed.
I think that's probably pretty close. So a couple other things about Limp Bizkit. One that I love, they're from Jacksonville, Florida.
They sure are.
And when you listen to their music, you're like, this is some straight up Florida shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can hear the Florida. And I feel like Florida and Michigan are very, very similar.
Please walk me through this.
I'm just the level of fuckery that happens in Florida, and the level of fuckery, like all of Florida is basically Westland, Michigan, which is where I grew up. So I feel like I'm just like, yep. Same place, same dudes, like reading stories about, you know, Fred Durst and how he was like doing like landscaping, but also like a tattoo artist. Like he's like the guy that would do like your tattoos in his basement for like super cheap. Mm-hmm. It just, I don't know, it just gives me a very Westland vibe. And maybe also because I listened to it in like some formative teenage years. Okay. But Fred Durst was in a band with Sam Rivers before Limp Bizkit. It was called Malachi Sage. And so Fred Durst got him to quit the band by saying, you need to quit this band and start a band with me that's like this, rapping and rocking. And I'll tell you what, they sure did.
Wait, is that a direct quote?
It's in Wikipedia.
I don't know. That one,
dude, it has a citation.
It has a citation?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a hilarious quote. That's man, I feel like that's like if like, hey, Scorsese, how'd you and De Niro come up with a Taxi Driver? I went up to De Niro and I said, hey man, quit working on this movie you're working on right now. We're making a movie with some driving and some mohawks.
Yep.
You know?
Pretty much. Also, I didn't know this, but John Otto is Sam Rivers' cousin. And he was studying jazz drumming and playing in avant-garde bands, and then he became their drummer.
Well, that if you notice, I mean, we'll know this as we go through and listen to this album and subsequent Limp Bizkit albums, the drumming's excellent.
Yes, I agree.
There's no debate on that. On my last listen on this album, there was, I think it was on Sour, I was like, oh, listen to this interesting drum pattern that he's doing here. He's not doing the same drums that he did on the previous song. And we've met John Otto.
Yes, John Otto is the last member of Limp Bizkit to see me with my natural front teeth.
There you go. So. And he seemed like a inquisitive man.
Yeah, he was very friendly.
Yeah.
He was wearing a Doctor Who t-shirt. We talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
And, I can't really remember much else of it because 30 seconds later, I was walking down the street. I tripped over a construction sign and I knocked my front teeth out right in front of the whole crowd of people. So...
it's an incredible story.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite part, I don't know, my favorite part was when you stood up and I said, are you okay? And you said, I think I fucked up my face. And then you turned to me And yep.
Yeah,
You had.
I had.
You had. And I remember thinking, oh man, I'm trying to play it cool, but I know that my face is reading. Oh no. Yep.
And then I spit my teeth out, and we went to the bar.
We did.
And cleaned myself up. And
then we hung out with some Limp Bizkit roadies.
Yeah, we smoked some weed with them, didn't we? Oops.
Well, I didn't, but you did.
I sure did. Well, I'd fucked up my face. What else was there for me to do? 30 years old, you knock out your teeth at a Limp Bizkit concert.
There you go. Well, do we want to just dive into this thing?
Where else is there to go?
Where else is there to go? All right.
Get in there.
Okay, so
Use your vehicle.
the first track here, this is just an intro.
Don't give your gun to Jesus and say, Jesus.
The religious stuff on this album, doesn't it seem oddly sincere?
I don't know.
I mean, later on Indigo Flow, he yells, God, I love you, and it doesn't feel like winky.
That's
true. It doesn't
That's
feel
true.
like he's, yeah. I mean, and also during this era, I've been in the Faith video, he's got like a giant crucifix. It's weird.
Well, yeah,
There's nothing more to it beyond just these sort of two tossed off comments, but it seems, I don't know. Just a notice.
Just a notice.
Just a note. Just something I noticed.
I think you're right. I hadn't noticed it before. So that was the
That was the intro.
The intro.
All right.
The next track on this album, which to be honest, I normally skipped over that intro.
Oh, really? It's like 30 seconds.
Well, I don't have time.
I always like to
I
say,
had
where you
things to
gotta
do.
be?
I had to go lie about being a skateboarder somewhere. I didn't have time for that.
Okay.
Next track is Pollution.
Pollution. There you go. Right away, a much better intro than Korn's got Blind, but I mean, right away, they're just like slamming it to you. Fred Durst as a rapper, he is hated. Thoughts?
I get it.
I get it too.
Listen, I can't listen to this objectively. This was like, I thought this shit was like this record, The Refused, Shape of Punk to Come.
Okay.
Those were like a couple records. I had the same feeling when I heard them. I was like, this is the coolest shit I've ever heard.
Absolutely. This was the hardest. It was great. And you've got, yeah, I mean, just everything is going on here. And it's funny listening to it, now, listening to it more specifically just for the instruments and everything. Everybody's doing something interesting on these songs. And Ross Robinson on production. Our good friend Ross Robinson.
Our buddy Ross. Ross, hi.
Really brought it on this one because this could have easily turned into mud.
He did a nice job.
Yeah.
He did a good job. The only reason that he agreed to produce this, because Korn, so Fred Durst apparently, big hustler. He would just like always promote the band constantly. They had like a huge following, but they met up with Korn and hung out with them. They were like, we have to hang out. You've got to listen to us. So they had this like 3-song demo recorded that I believe it was Fieldy took to. It's
got to be Fieldy because he's named in the thank yous here.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Fieldy.
Well, that's because he's the only fun member of Korn.
As we've talked about before.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So Ross Robinson wouldn't listen to it. He made his girlfriend listen to it and she liked it. So then he listened to it and then he agreed to produce it.
Okay. Now this is something. Limp Bizkit have a very large female following. What do you attribute that to?
I can tell you exactly what I can attribute that to.
Okay.
They were doing like Warped Tour and all of these other things. So they got some ladies that way, but they headlined a tour called Ladies Night in Cambodia. It's a Ladies Night in Cambodia club tour, which was intended to diversify the band's fan base by offering free tickets to female attendees. And that's how they did it.
Wow.
This is the thing. Like Fred Durst, he is like a salesman through and through. I would say least favorite member of this band for me, Fred Durst. he's not for me. But I mean, everybody knows that guy who's like, he's nice enough, but he's just constantly pushing himself. And I think this is a pretty good example of where that can succeed.
Well, think about it. At his peak, he was selling this band to America successfully. He then he sold Stained to America successfully.
Oh.
He sold Puddle of Mud to America successfully. Think about it. That's a skill.
Yeah. It's totally a skill.
And also think about I always think about what that song, the Outside, Stained Outside.
Yeah.
Then the version that gets played on radio here still is the live version where it's like featuring Fred Durst, which is literally the guy playing the song, and Fred Durst comes out and he's like, "I want to see them lighters." That's Fred's contribution to that. But that's all anybody needed. That was the cosign. Like, Fred was out there, want to see lighters up. I guess I'm into Stain now. I guess I'm Stain's biggest fan.
I mean, there was a time when everybody was wearing those red baseball caps.
There was. It really was. It was something else to see it. Everybody had a chin beard.
Yeah, a goatee.
Well, no, it wasn't a goatee. It was like a chin beard.
Oh, a chin
like
strap. A chin
Yeah.
strap.
Chin beard. I don't know.
I don't know. Who can keep track of all the facial hair in
This
Limp
is true.
Bizkit?
Now, Pollution, though, great.
Good song.
Good song.
Real good song.
All right. So now track 3.
Oh, here we go.
Counterfeit.
Taking me back.
Oh, here we go.
The riff I could not deny.
The riff you could not. This is a little Korn-esque, this sort of whispery. Like, Limp Bizkit didn't do this in Sing to Make Another, but on this album, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A little bit of that creepy voice stuff. Just waiting for that drop, that riff.
Here it comes.
Here it comes.
Here it comes.
Oh, man. Oh,
Still cool. In
That's
my
still-
opinion,
that's
still cool.
That's still good. And right away, you hear DJ Lethal going bananas back there, just going nuts. And okay, but then here's the thing I noticed. Let's go into these verses here.
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, wake up and smell the
Oh, okay. I think it's a little later. There's an organ in the back. Maybe it's in the second verse. Oh, wait, no. Here it comes.
That's what life is. For you, your hideous behavior.
Organ! Did you know that Limp Bizkit had organ going on in the first album? That's something I caught on listen 185 of this album.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we roll right back into this chorus. Yeah.
I am so amped up right now.
My God.
I don't want to show it because I feel weird, but inside I'm
Yes.
like, yep, here we go.
All right,
Like,
so
I'm
this
ready.
song, now we had talked about this before. You think this is the best Limp Bizkit song?
This, I mean, yeah, you know what?
Yeah,
I do.
you do?
It's my favorite.
It is really everything that they do well all in one place. Let's talk. I can't believe I feel like we've been talking 10 minutes and we have not said anything about Wes Borland.
Oh, you know what? It's because Wes is always with us in our hearts.
really is
and so
true.
we don't feel like we need to talk about him.
Yeah.
We both love Wes.
We love Wes. Wes is our favorite. I mean, I have followed Wes from this band to side projects to when he came back to the band to more side projects. I'm listening to Wes's girlfriend's band that he doesn't even play in the album. He's just in the touring member. But I was like, there's still Wes proximity. I'm gonna check this out. I'm always interested in what Wes is doing.
Well,
Wes's guitar work on this, loving it.
it's real good.
Real good.
Wes almost was like just not in this at all once they got started. Wes and Fred had like a falling out, and Wes had left, and then Limp Bizkit got into like a very bad van accident, and it was like a near-death experience, which caused Fred to reach back out to Wes, and then he rejoined the band.
Wow.
When $3 Billy Doll came out.
That, man,
Hey,
you've really done your research, and I'm very impressed. This
I
is great.
have the internet, and I know how to use it, so don't worry about that.
That's pretty. I mean, I'm obviously lucky for us because this is great.
Yeah. So there's a lot of talk too about how like Wes was also Ross Robinson's favorite because he wasn't taking the band too seriously. And I think that's always kind of the sense that I got from it. Like it seemed like he was just a weird dude doing his own thing constantly. And I think I liked that. And I know I liked it because I drew a lot of fan art of Wes specifically.
Okay. All right.
Whole band a couple times, mostly drawing Wes. So
yeah, I mean, definitely you would, and the thing also was that it was the strange juxtaposition of Fred Durst up there basically doing this sort of bro douchebag, hey ladies, what's going on, and then to his stage left. Yeah, stage left.
I don't know.
I think that's where he stands. Is this guy in, head to toe black body paint with, light up LED lights around his head, looking like the Grim Reaper or something. This guy is not concerned about the same things that this guy is, yet they have found a common ground of rockin' faces.
Yes. And so this is like very cheesy, but I think that is why I actually and sincerely love Limp Bizkit, because I feel like these are all dudes who had very different things going on, very different interests outside of just playing in this band, but they all come together to do this thing. Whether or not you like that, I think it's a very respectable thing. And it's something that I value. I value that a lot, like in friendships and in life, and I see that in Limp Bizkit, and I feel so stupid right now, but I mean it so sincerely. Yeah, and what I like about the song Counterfeit too is like a lot of the songs that we listen to on like Korn's record, and a lot of songs, and we'll get to some on this record too. But I think I didn't realize this when I was like listening to it initially when I was a teenager, but this song is not about like some bitch that like I fucked and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
This song is about people on the music scene in Florida started copying their style, and so that's what it's all about. And I think that maybe like the absence of there being like this like huge misogynistic like overtone, I was like, I like this. There's like a weirdo. I felt like a weirdo. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of anger. I was very angry. Obviously, I think all teens are.
You had to basically threaten your mother to get this album.
Oh, I put my foot down.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Mm-hmm.
Glad I did.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just love this song.
It's really great. I know, like I said, this was the soundtracking my summer of driver's training. You know what? I was, like I said, I was not really into lyrics at the time, so it was all like a real big vibe thing for me. And I just remember thinking, this rocks harder than like almost anything I own. I mean, whatever history is said about Fred Durst rapping, but I thought he was pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't remember having a strong opinion of his rapping, but I do remember thinking, rap and rock together? Who could ask for anything more?
Yes.
And that is, yeah,
Did it ever feel like I was also very much into the Beastie Boys at this time?
Me too.
I always felt like the Beastie Boys, and I love the Beastie Boys. Obviously, they are like classic artists. But I always remember thinking like they were just a touch away from what I was hoping rap and rock would be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, aside from maybe like, Sabotage.
Yeah, Sabotage is sort of it, but even Sabotage is almost like, I mean, it's more of a punk song.
That's true.
It's not, yeah, and then I think of something like, I know this is going to sound like blasphemy, but Fight for Your Right to Party. I feel like that opening riff sets me up for a better song than we actually get. Like, it's like, yeah, and I'm like, oh, what's about to drop? And then I always feel like that riff is sort of corny a little bit. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan of License to Ill. I don't hate it, but I'm not. I'm just
Camp
saying.
Kozlowski.
Listen, I love Paul's Boutique. I love Check Your Head, but yeah, there's a bit of weird datedness, and I always remember thinking there's an intersection that could happen with rap and rock, and it wasn't until really this album that really it came together.
Limp Bizkit restored your faith. Fuck you, Beastie Boys. Limp Bizkit's here.
I still love them. The next song is Stuck, which
I'm about to go ahead and take back all the stuff I just said.
So this one, well, I mean, yeah, we'll just go right from that first line.
Psycho female.
Lorin, I want to check in with you again on your feelings about Fred Durst as a rapper.
Yeah. This part's not great.
Okay. All right.
No, it's funny. Yeah, that was, I would be driving and listening to this, and I would think, oh, yeah, this part's not great. But then these guitars come in. This band.
Okay, but listen to what he's saying.
Yeah.
Are you blasting her ass, Fred?
Yeah.
You blasting it, buddy? Okay.
Yeah, and this is one of those. He's upset with a woman, but he's also blasting her ass. It's like,
well, he's all over the place in this song, and you know what? I do like this song. I want to point out. I'm just very skeptical of his whole like, I'm fucking chicks swagger. Like, and unfortunately I believe that he is, but I bet he's not blasting anything. All right, I'm just going to say that. Also, I don't understand his bucking like a chicken or whatever. I'm like, he has said that like people think that Limp Bizkit is misogynist, but a lot of this album is like about a relationship that he had been in for years that really put him through the ringer. So these were just him dealing with that.
Sure.
And okay, so I'm thinking, I'm listening to this through the lens of me trying to understand why they broke up and what's going on here. And I'm like, maybe because you're bucking like a chicken. And then there's like an inexplicable lyric in this. It says, all I wanted was a Pepsi, just one Pepsi, far from suicidal. I'm like, wait, how did we get from soda to suicide, pal?
Right. I brought this up at home, and Rachel said, how can you trust a guy who's into Pepsi over Coke?
Oh,
which
man.
I thought was valid. Okay,
Yeah.
Matt Naas, our producer. Matt, you wanted to step in a little bit?
Yeah, I'm just going to add some age to the conversation.
Okay.
The reference is a Suicidal Tendencies song called Institutionalized, in which the lead singer to Suicidal Tendencies goes, Mom, I just want a Pepsi. I'm not crazy. Don't send me away.
Well, maybe.
I just want a Pepsi.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But
I'm just
maybe
olds.
No.
That's good. That's
this
good.
is good
for
information.
Context.
This
Yeah,
is good. I
that's
didn't
excellent.
find this on my internet searching.
Ooh, do we need context? I can actually provide that to you.
Oh,
Sure. I mean,
Okay.
well, I do need to know why somebody would choose a Pepsi over a Coke.
yeah. No one's ever gone anywhere and said, I'll have a Pepsi. Is Coke okay? I don't think it's ever happened in anybody's life.
He also, I have to say something, like I've been reading a lot of interviews that he did. Fred Durst says fat, P-H-A-T, more than like
Anyone's ever said
anyone's ever said it.
And I was just like staring at the wall and thinking about just one Pepsi. I can't
it. You know what? I can hear it.
Yeah, me too.
I can hear it.
I
I can really see Fred sitting down with the band and go, hey, listen to this song. Let's Limp Bizkit up. You know?
And then it has a breakdown that goes back to a groove.
I was sitting in my room. My mom and my dad came in.
Like, this song is instantly familiar, yet I feel like I've never heard it before.
I need to talk to you. And I go, okay. What's the
I've
matter?
contributed, and I'm going back on mute.
All right. Goodbye, Matt. Thank you for
Thanks-
coming in with
thanks,
something
Matt. Thank you.
cool.
Thank you,
You're
Matt.
welcome.
That was very helpful.
Hurt somebody. And we're afraid you're gonna hurt yourself.
I don't want to downplay Fred Durst's misogyny on this, but it seems, I don't know if it's because it's more personal for him that he's like specifically upset at a specific person, as opposed to what feels like Korn's more general dismissiveness.
Yeah, and you know, I think of, follow me here. I think
Okay.
of Korn as a guy on like some deep dark subreddit in his mom's basement who has like never actually touched a woman but hates them anyway.
Right.
Limp Bizkit is like dude who hangs out at a bowling alley, like outside, and
Yeah.
listens to shitty music in a car,
Uh-huh.
and like has totally like he's fucked before, but he's just like mad at like one specific girl, and like his rage is misguided.
Yeah.
But I also feel like the Reddit guy is the dude who like wears your skin.
Yeah.
Fred Durst is the guy who's like, bitch, and then you're like, what the fuck did you say? And he's like, nothing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was mad.
Yeah.
I mean,
And the Reddit guy is more like he won't say anything to you, and then suddenly you're in the back of the
yeah,
van.
and then suddenly
Yeah,
you're dead.
yeah.
You're dead.
Mhm. Well, I think we had talked about this, that Limp Bizkit's the band that has met a woman, not a huge fan. Korn's heard of women, not a fan of what they've heard.
Yes, that's a much more concise way of saying that colorful picture I just painted. So Fred Durst is just like, you know, he's just like a fucking bro. There's no
Yes.
two ways around it. I was reading an interview that you sent me
Yeah.
about, him talking about how his life became awesome. They're talking about how he's like moving around and at like parties, and he's like talking about how he's like, I'm at parties with Jack Nicholson and Dana Carvey, all the A-lists, which really dates this. And you
Right.
know what? I'll go ahead and say I love Dana Carvey still.
You should watch some of his stand-up, which is mad racist. It's insane.
Oh, man.
It's insane, you guys. Not to get off on this, but someone posted a link to one of his recent bits of stand-up. No, just an old stand-up bit he did, and he does an extended Asian impression that is stunning in its bad taste.
Man. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and put a star by that. I don't mean that.
Garth is an incredible character.
But here, yes, that's true. But the most striking thing about this whole interview to me is that he tells the person who's interviewing him that he's celibate. And when they say, "What do you mean by celibate?" he says, "Well, no, not for the rest of my life, but I don't fuck around anymore. I really want to find the girl I'm going to marry. I think I just fucked too much when I was younger. I abused it with all my old girlfriends. We'd fuck 5 times a day." Which is totally like me walking around telling people that I skateboard, but only at my grandma's house. I don't know. No. Like when I read that, I know it's not true because I have totally said shit like that. And it's just like, no, Fred.
That's a classic. Yeah, that's the oh yeah, what'd you guys do this weekend? I went skydiving. That was a guy I went to high school with, who was the first person I'd ever met who for some reason lied about everything, and it was always like benign stuff. Like he'd come into school and be like, "Had a break into my own house yesterday." What? Why did you have to? I forgot my key. So what'd you do? Climbed up on the roof, kicked the window in. My mom wasn't happy.
The
about
roof
it.
window? Yeah.
Yeah, the roof window. He would tell these things, and we'd always just go, "This guy's got to be full of shit," but there was nothing to really call him on.
Yeah.
And so then there was a big fight. You'll love this. There was a big fight. And when I was in high school, you were either into rock music or you're into rap music. And you could not be into both.
Wow.
This is 9th grade. This is pre-Limp Bizkit.
Okay.
This kid who was, and if you were into rock music, you were called a banger. That's what they were called.
All right.
It means something different now. So you were a banger or you were into rap music. And so basically this kid who was a banger got into a fight with a kid who was in rap music. And he beat his ass. He slammed his head through.
The banger one?
The banger beat the rap kid.
Okay.
He slammed his head through a piece of glass in a science room. It was the most amazing fight I'd ever seen in my whole life. And so they both got kicked out of school for a while. And so when he came back, we were all sitting there at lunch. And we're like, "Welcome back, man." And everyone's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Screw that guy. Yeah, he listens to rap." And then here's Mr. White Lie, Mr. Lie. And he goes, "Yeah, I sold all my rap CDs, man. I took them down to Mr. Music Head and sold them all."
Mr. Music Head?
Do you remember? Oh, no, you were listening to Westland. Do you remember Mr. Music Head, Matt? Okay, Mr. Music Head was a record store in, I want to say, Sterling Heights, Warren, on the corner of like 15 Mile and Ryan. And it was there until there was a ICP record release party, and they destroyed the store and they had to shut down.
Oh, man. That's too bad.
It is too bad. They had already been shut down at this point. And so he told this whole table that he had just gone to Mr. Music Head and sold all of his rap CDs. And everyone looked at him and went, "Mr. Music Head's been closed for like 6 months." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is a person caught in a lie. What's he gonna do?" I remember thinking in my head, like, is he gonna die? Is he gonna just melt away
someday?
And he just sat and he just leaned back and stared at the ground. And I was like, "Oh my God." And then we all just moved on.
Wow. Well,
And I don't remember anything else about that guy after that. That was like the pinnacle moment with that guy. And then after I never really saw him ever again. That was a complete digression from Limp Bizkit, but that story just came into my head.
Yeah. I think this will transition nicely into the next song on this record.
Track 5. Nobody Loves Me.
Nobody Loves Me.
I was remember thinking this was one of the harder tracks.
It's a pretty hard track, except for it doesn't. We'll get there in a second.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Deadlines. I understand why the maniacs are in the headlines, and even though I don't know.
I know this is going to sound like faint praise, but it doesn't sound like the song before it. And the next song doesn't sound anything like it. And I feel like that is a huge thing after coming off that Korn album.
Oh, I completely agree. Like, I can't tell.
And then that slide on the guitar, like you can tell, like every track Wes is like, "I got a new trick. I got a new thing I'm going to try out. Some weird sound."
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I don't know if it was just like the fatigue from listening to that Korn album. I think that took like years off my life because every song except for Blind and that goddamn knick-knack paddywhack, give a dog a bone. I'll tell you, I don't know if I was having like some like some trauma from listening to that. But when he starts saying like, nobody loves me, maybe I'll go eat worms, I'm like, stop using nursery rhymes in your fucking songs. Like, you can be a man-child, disguise it a little bit.
Sure.
But this is a good song, though.
Yeah. Well, this you got this tap again. I mean, that's the thing. Everything, there's always, and this is going to sound like such a weird thing, but there's always something interesting going on with this band. Like, you've got, somebody said once that would the band have been as successful if they had had a legit lead singer and not Fred Durst? And I think no. I think Fred Durst, he's this cult of personality, the salesman, as you said, that really just is what they needed. No one, a legit guy who could really sing or a legit guy who could really rap, it would not have been the same thing.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that another thing that made Limp Bizkit as successful as they were is that, I mean, we talked about like the music is very interesting. It is interesting. But Fred Durst, like, you know, he appeals to all those bros. Yeah. All those bros. I just imagine him constantly on a boat. Probably because he blew up a boat, and it's all I can think about.
All I think about is blowing up boats.
All I can think about is him blowing up a boat. Spring Break, 99.
Spring Break 99.
Stuck on an island. It was Nookie that they were playing, but I'm gonna go ahead and skip forward in their history a little bit because I love that he blew up a boat, and I think it's cool, and I want to blow up a boat, but I don't think I'm ever gonna get to. So I just wanted to.
I mean, it does. Doesn't matter what size boat, right?
I'd prefer a medium-sized boat.
Okay, all right. Okay.
But yeah, so that's Nobody Loves Me and my desire to blow up a boat.
All right, so now track 6 is Sour. Pay attention to those drums. Okay, so first of all, you got a little interesting Wes noodling. And then, what's this? This is an interesting little drum beat going on here from jazz-influenced drummer John Otto.
I thought I knew ya. Took the time to put my love into ya. Screw ya, cause now you got me sitting in the...
I'm giving Matt and Lorin a look, and it's because I think this song is so cool, and I don't know how to say it. Not great for a podcast, but the look is meaningful.
Let's talk a little bit about DJ Lethal here. So the big complaint against general nu metal and is the uselessness of the DJ. What's the DJ doing? And I feel like this album is Exhibit A on the usefulness of the DJ. He is adding so much texture to the background. He's legit doing things. It's not just like an interlude and this. You know, he's not like freaking Incubus's, DJ. I don't think that guy ever did anything.
I agree with you. And also, I mean, it's because John Otto and DJ Lethal took the time to figure out how they could work best together.
Yeah.
Another example of these misfits in Limp Bizkit somehow overcoming their differences and making things work together.
Yeah. And on top of that, I mean, this is actually a very DJ Lethal heavy song. Lots of scratching going on in the background that add to the riffs and the drops. Matt, I know that you, as we learned on the last podcast, not a huge fan of this genre of music. What do you think in general right now as we're journeying through this album?
Ooh, boy. So, Fred Durst is so hard to take.
Uh-huh.
This whiny white boy thing.
Yeah.
It is a love or hate thing.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And on some songs, I actually, like a Significant Other, I will not lie and say that I didn't listen to Nookie or In Together Now.
Right.
Because I did.
Right.
This album never really grabbed me.
Okay.
But Faith did. And we're not there yet, but I always loved that. But when I hear this, there's so much going on.
Yeah.
That it's not. I like it better than Korn. I will say that.
I'll take it.
Yep, I'll take it too.
All right.
That's as high of praise as I could have expected from Matt Naas.
Yeah.
Better than Korn.
Better than Korn.
Let's go.
All right, back on mute.
All right. Okay, so Sour. I think we're rolling right along now. Lyrically, this one seems like, loving to you, screw you, now you got eliminated in the sewer, strikes me as a bit more of a woe was me situation.
Yeah, the dude feels bad for himself.
Yeah.
I would say most every dude who behaves like Fred Durst is just internally weeping. He's feeling bad for himself.
Sure.
But I think that's part of what makes this work for the people that it works for.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's so much like anger and insecurity in his lyrics. God, I can't believe I'm like dissecting this to this level, but I feel like the insecurity is so apparent, and that's kind of what like resonates with people.
Yeah.
Because I mean, especially I know like at the age that I was listening to this, a lot of the stuff he's saying, like, well, I can't like relate to like women screwing me over, but I just remember that, you know, having that like feeling of fear and insecurity and uncertainty, and like, you know, it's so much easier to manifest that as anger than it is to admit that you actually feel vulnerable. I think that that's a lot of what makes this work, and I see that a lot in this song, because it's pretty much just him being super sad about his ex-girlfriend.
For sure. And I think something that I really gravitated to with this album is definitely coming off of grunge and that sort of post-grunge sound. There would be when artists would sort of get serious and sad, it would definitely sort of tend to make songs that were darker but also sort of slower, and it was sort of like, I don't want to say like fighting against the darkness, but sort of like succumbing to it in a weird way to me. And I can definitely tell you, when I was in high school and middle school, I had no time for slow songs, no time for ballads. All right, we're here to rock 100% of the time. You got ballads, I'm skipping them. And so for a band like Limp Bizkit, I mean, it's all killer, no filler. These guys, they're not stopping for any ballads. It's gonna rock it. And even if you something like Sour, which immediately is like, okay, this is a little more mid tempo, but don't worry, when we get to the hook, we're gonna rock your face off, and still have that sense of like, you know, I don't want to get overly poetic, like you said, but this sort of like, we're going to be angry and we're going to be sad, but we're not going to be quiet about it. And I guess that's what sort of appealed to me. A kid living in the suburbs with no problems.
Yeah. Maybe it would have been different if we'd had problems.
Yeah, right?
All right, next up.
Stalemate.
Here we go.
So right away, this song is awesome. This song actually is a very sort of the whispery vocal thing, a little that strikes me as a little bit of the Korn sort of Marilyn Manson-y sort of like, which I feel like they would abandon with their later stuff. But the thing is with this one, it's this sort of, it builds this mood and then it's gonna shatter it and just go right back to the rockin', which I love, and this is sort of a jammy opening, They're not diving right into to their verses. It's like no, we'll let you just sort of riff out over here on the drums and just run this line and then oh, is it over or is it just beginning? Oh,
there it is.
Here it is.
Surprise.
Oh, this sort of breathy scat stuff. That's a little Korn. Yeah.
I don't care. I like it. I don't apologize for my love.
No, don't apologize. Now, I don't know how much later into this song it is, but basically this is the I'm Gonna Get Mine song.
Yeah.
And that's like peak. That's peak of this album for me. When that happens, I'm like, nothing's going to be better than this on this album.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wish I could remember when that happens in the song.
It's like the entire middle of the song.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that.
I believe you, Fred. Sounds like you are.
And I think there's a later one where he does it builds up and This one I always remember just thinking like, if I was ever brave enough to go into a mosh pit, this would be the song in which I would have my spinal cord broken too. It's just
You never know, dude. You're still young. But if the song comes on and I'm with you, I'm holding you back.
Oh man. Well, when we went to see Limp Bizkit, we were essentially in the pit, and it was pretty benign because everyone was old.
Everyone's old now. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Now that I before we went, I didn't really lean back into it. I was like, oh, this will just be like a fun little thing we do. But I think when we were there, that was when I realized, like, no, I really like Limp Bizkit. This isn't just like a funny, nostalgic joke. Because we've seen some things together that have been like nostalgic, not like horrible things, but
Right.
shows.
Yeah.
That were nostalgic jokes. Now, which reminds me, the same year that this was released,
Yes.
was when Third Eye Blind released the album with Semi Charmed Life on it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. And I just want to point this out. I know we need to get back to the music, but these are the some of the albums that came out on the same day that this album came out.
Oh, I was like,
Cherry Poppin' Daddies and Zoot Suit Riot.
Oh my gosh.
Blues Traveler, Straight On Till Morning. Puff Daddy and the Bad Boy Family, No Way Out.
Wow.
The Men in Black soundtrack. Real Big Fish, Keep Your Seat. And my personal favorite, Prodigy, The Fat of the Land.
This came out the same day as Prodigy Fat of the Land?
Same day.
Wow.
Same day.
Oh man, I always remember when that Prodigy album came out. I remember a friend of mine bought it, and I said, "How is it?" And he goes, "It's the best album ever made."
Yeah,
it's pretty good. I don't know about that though.
I was hanging out with some people who were considerably younger than us. Probably about a year ago, we were drinking and we were sitting around someone's house, and they said, "Hey, let's watch a music video. What should we watch?" And I was like, "Put on the music video for Firestarter."
Classic video.
And these were people who are like 8 years younger than us.
8 years
so
younger than us. Okay.
I was there and watching the Firestarter video, which is very long. If you haven't seen it, don't think of me when you watch it. But it was like a time when I was like, I regretted what I had said, and I felt so old and so dumb. I was just like, yeah, guys, check this out. It's just the dude from Prodigy running around in the sewer making crazy faces. I feel dumb. I feel more dumb about that than I do about how I'm unapologetically, like, sincerely loving Limp Bizkit right now. So
yeah, I could see. Well, it's funny to think that there was a time in which Keith Flint was considered a iconoclast and somebody who was wild and unpredictable. When really the thing that always blew my mind about Prodigy is that guy had nothing to do with the music. He didn't write any of it. He wasn't even signed to the label. Only Liam Howlett was signed to the label. Oh. All those other guys were just dancers that he let add vocals. They were essentially all, just guys who were like, "Can I do something in the studio?" And then he was like, "Yeah, sure, throw something on it." And which is always funny because when Rolling Stone did their article about Prodigy, they put Keith Flint on the cover by himself.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't want to turn this into the Electronica podcast, but there's a little something I know about that. Diving back in, track 8, Clunk.
Great title. It does fun.
It does.
Okay.
All right. There's our man DJ Lethal earning that check.
Hey, mister, elevate that mind into a bliss up. You might need to rest up or pump that chest.
This is a more minor track on the album. This one's after Stalemate, this one's like,
I don't have a ton of love for Clunk, but I don't hate it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like Stalemate.
That's right.
And so there we go. It's not the same as the track before.
That's right.
Good on you, Limp Bizkit.
All right.
Here we go.
Here we go. The one that really took him over the top. You know what I like about this cover?
No.
It's fucking sincere. It's not making fun of this song. I believe this is sincere. They could have done a million bullshit things, and the fact that it's just vocal and the guitar to start, I feel like shows a lot of restraint.
Okay.
Yeah? I can see both of you saying all right, Lorin, but that's kind of what I think.
Well, I think we feel like Ross Robinson did it first against putting this song on the album until he heard what's about to happen. Okay, you can put it on the album now. I changed my mind. Go ahead. That's my Ross Robinson.
Oh, that's your Ross Robinson impression?
Yeah.
And then what's funny is here, this is now it's a pop punk song.
Yeah.
Like this is Sum 41, this is Blink-182, this is all that type of thing, which I think once again those are bands with a heavy female following, and I think that played a big part of it. I feel like everybody I knew that was really into those pop punk bands in high school were mostly girls. I mean, that's anecdotal, but I mean,
girls like pop punk.
I just
What are
think
you gonna
it's.
do?
I mean, listen, I've seen Fall Out Boy in concert twice,
Cool.
and it was mostly girls alone.
Yeah. Well, my impression is that initially when they would play this song.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Oh.
Get the fuck up!
Even
Okay.
Matt just put his finger in the air because he could not contain himself.
Busted.
It's easily the best part of the
There
song.
you go.
Busted.
Easily the best part of the song.
Yes.
Matt Naas has just been busted enjoying Limp Bizkit in his own home.
I said moments ago that I like Faith, that I thought, but I would agree with you completely, Lauren. This is a pop punk song.
Yeah.
It's a pop punk cover, but I feel like that is the get the fuck up part of it is for people who weren't sold on them.
Yeah.
Was probably the best gateway drug for their sound.
For sure.
Because once it happens, it's like you've got DJ Lethal cutting it up. You got Wes just jam. You got the whole band doing what it does very well in other songs as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very representative of their sound in a song that's corny, but they're kind of corny. Like they admit that. I remember that MTV special where they came out of the toilet. I remember when Meet the Band. Remember the show MTV's Meet the Band?
Yes.
Well, one guy wanted to meet Limp Bizkit, and when he got to meet them, he met them in like a Shoney's or something, and they were like, why do you want to meet us? We're idiots. Like, we're losers. Like, they kind of, like Fred, you could always tell wanted to be the biggest rock star in the world, but the rest of them were always like, we're from Florida, so I guess whatever happens, happens.
My boys. They
There
know.
you go.
Same reason I love Rush. 3 dudes, great musicians. They know what they are. They're just like, I mean, we're just fucking nerds. We love what we do. This is great, but we're just going to go full nerd.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my question for you guys, because you probably know the mythology more. How on earth did DJ Lethal become part of this band?
I believe in the song Indigo Flow, it will be revealed that that basically House of Pain were like, "Hey, take our DJ." That's the way it's conveyed in that in song. I don't know exactly. Do you know how he ends up joining the band?
I'm not totally sure.
He's no longer with the band,
No,
right?
he left after they signed to Cash Money Records, which is a real thing that happened.
And they're no longer on Cash Money now.
So
Yeah.
so Limp Bizkit had like tried to they knew that they needed something else. They weren't sure what it was. They tried to add another guitarist. They determined that wasn't what it was. And so I'm not sure exactly how it happened, but yeah, they brought DJ Lethal in. They had like a good practice with him, and he was in the band. That's as far as I can get without doing too much serious internet sleuthing.
Well, I mean, we've got, subsequent episodes, many more albums of theirs to dive into and enjoy.
That's true.
But he is currently no longer in the band. My understanding is that Fred instituted a pretty heavy no drugs, no alcohol clause into their contract, and DJ Lethal was not having it. Yeah, that was why he left, and he's been replaced with, I believe, DJ Skeletor.
I don't know who that is.
I mean, me neither.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, that's his name.
Oh, you had to look like
that's his name,
All
DJ
right.
Skeletor.
I like his name.
Yeah, I think he had like a skull mask when we saw them.
I don't remember.
Oh man, it was a blur.
Yeah.
It was a blur.
I knocked my teeth out. I can't be held responsible for remembering anything. But I do remember the next song on this album. That's segue.
Oh, nice. Stink Finger.
Gross.
This is a very Wes intro.
Seen your canvas.
And I fucking love it.
The excuse you used to ruin
Yeah, this chorus is awesome. Yeah. They're just there. That band is there, man.
Yeah. A girl in my my middle school started dating the dude I had like an obsessive crush on.
Uh-huh.
And I was so pissed. This was like my rage song about it.
Oh, yeah?
I was just like, yeah, love my neighbor. Here we go. That's one of the lyrics later in the song. And just that like opening is like, it's so like, it's like quietly pissed.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it.
For a song called Stink Finger, it definitely has more resonance than you would expect.
Well, I guess that's like their whole thing, right?
Right.
Like, if you're going to you're not going to come in the door because it's got a Stink Finger title on it, then you don't get to hear this awesome song.
Exactly. And yeah, I just feel like the band is I guess that's the great thing, and it's what you said before. The support of this band, like, you would think that these guys from all these disparate elements would not cohere into anything, and yet they were all there. And like Fred's like, "Hey, I got this song called I got this song called Stink Finger," and they're like, "Well, here's this music, which is bananas." And he's like, "Well, I'm gonna rap about what is this song about? Is it literally about having like a?"
You know what? I didn't look too deep into it because I didn't want to have any disassociation from my memories of anger that someone would dare date someone that wasn't me.
Okay.
In my
so in your thoughts, Stink Finger is about you being wronged.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that song was written about events that were to take place in the future.
Okay.
Thanks, Fred.
All right.
You were right. Up next, a song that I never really cared about when I was younger, but listening to it with you has really made this song very close to my heart.
There's so much into this song. So, okay, so we've already sounded out. Okay. Field Dog. Everlast. Chino. Ross, you're an angel.
Yes.
Okay, pause it right there. Lethal, we love you like a brother. That makes it feel like on this song, Lethal wasn't yet a member of the band. Like that. When I hear that, okay, Matt.
I have the take that this is the first time here.
Yes.
This is the first time here for me.
Okay.
I feel like Limp Bizkit as an entity prior to Lethal was a tight unit. And then all of a sudden, X Factor came in with DJ Lethal, and they were like, "Welcome aboard. We love you like a brother."
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
That's the way I read it.
That makes sense. I like that.
They did tell Ross he was an angel.
Yes.
Which, how sweet. First of all, that's where you see that little.
Yeah.
I can imagine Fred Durst writing his girlfriend's letters like, "You're an angel."
Yes.
Because he says it to Ross publicly.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. Listen, I thought a lot about this. Okay.
Yeah.
Matt just gave me a look like he was going to do a spit take when I said that, but I mean it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back. There's more shout outs in this song.
Jaguars, kid. Better watch out. Line them up, Cheetah.
Who's Cheetah?
I don't know.
That's a question. Oh wait. Is this? Oh.
It's.
Is it coming up? Okay.
It's not- there's a
not- Taught me life is all about drinking. So Korn gets its own shout out, but Fieldy, the only guy who got his own separate shout out.
Danny at the milk bar.
Danny at the milk bar. He's my favorite.
Okay, you can pause this.
This is like the end of the song.
And God, I love you!
Okay.
That does sound sincere.
Yes. So this God, Jesus being called out in the first intro, the God I love you, it puts this strange religious aspect on this album that doesn't show up anywhere else, but on these two tracks, and it seems sincere. Matt Naas.
So my question is that God, I love you, or all you guys and God, I love you?
Well, I can't really imagine
God,
Fred
I
Durst
love
being
ya.
like, "God, guys, I love ya."
But we'll rewind it just
Okay.
for
All right.
just for funds.
Okay.
Just for funds.
All right.
5. Run dig. Danny at the milk bar. Terry Parker, you know what's up. Dialed into the planet. And God, I love you!
Well, I kind of read it as, "And God, I love you." Like, "And God, I love you guys." Not necessarily like, "My Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, I love you."
It's the pause.
It's the pause, that kind of throws me off.
Oh, yeah, like, "And God," as in the creator of the universe.
Yes. Think about it. It's a shout out song. He's already shouted out Sugar Ray, making life all about Danny at the milk bar.
Danny at the milk
Well,
bar.
everybody knows that Sugar Ray taught him how to drink.
That's right.
Whereabouts unknown. Danny at the milk bar.
Well, here's the thing. When we first
Yo,
started,
Danny at the milk bar. Hit us up. Where you at, son?
Okay, so do you know what the milk bar is?
Yes.
Okay. So the milk bar is where they got their start. They were the kings of the milk bar. That was this bar, this club. And so when we first were listening to this album, like we're re-listening to it for the podcast, Jenny texted me and she's like, "Oh man, it's Indigo Flow song," and I was like, "Danny at the Milk Bar," and she's like, "You know that guy is dead." There's no way Danny at the Milk Bar is still alive.
I can't imagine him being alive still. Like, I'm surprised any of these people survived.
You know what?
Rest in peace, Danny at the Milk Bar.
Danny, you know, I'm going to Florida in a couple weeks.
Oh no.
Maybe I'll see.
You're going to go to Jacksonville?
I don't know. We don't have any plans for my visit, so maybe I will.
You're just going to the state proper with no set destination?
I'm going to be, there's going to roll me out of a plane wherever. It's going to dump me out in a duffel bag.
All right.
Drop me off at the Milk Bar.
Well, yeah. Now, the thing is, as we'll find out when we listen to their other albums, I think every album has a shout-out track. Or just about every album.
Yeah, I think so.
I think, actually, I don't think Results May Vary has one. I know The Unquestionable Truth Part 1 does not have one.
I've never listened to Gold Cobra.
Really?
Yeah.
Girl, you are in for a treat.
Okay.
Oh man.
Man.
Although the shout out track on that one is not it's not as good as it. Indigo Flow is actually their best shout out track.
All right.
I mean, I may go back and change my tune, but I recall I believe that in the shout out track on A Significant Other is Show Me What You Got, and I always felt like that track sort of like slowed the album down. But I'll find it on my re-listen.
I guess we will.
Yeah. But also interesting bona fides on that, because I mean, obviously the Korn connection everybody knows. He's shouting out Chino, shouting out Sugar Ray.
Yeah.
You know, who, I mean, everyone thinks of Sugar Ray. It's like every morning and when it's over and everything.
Oh, no.
But this is what was the name of the album? Chocolate and Lemonade? Was that the name of the album? Have you heard this album?
No, I haven't.
I used to own it, and I don't anymore because I sold it. Because it was the worst thing I'd ever heard.
Was it at Mr. Music Head?
No, I believe I sold it back to Record Time. I think they
Oh.
gave me like $1 store credit for it.
That's generous.
Yeah.
For that.
There was that brief period in which Sugar Ray were attempting to be a nu metal band.
Yeah, no, I recall. I mean, they had some of that. That album that has Fly on it has some tracks that are still nu metally.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess what we may have to, when we go down the line, may have to revisit those.
Lemonade and Brownies.
Oh.
Oh, are you going to play a little for us?
We'll get to the vocals and then we'll turn it off.
Okay.
Oh no.
Oh wow.
Mark McGrath,
hey,
stop.
is everybody, you can stop this. Is everybody ready? Is everybody, that really, I feel, just makes Fred Durst sound even better.
You know what? I agree. I don't think Ross Robinson would have said yes to that.
No, I don't even think if his girlfriend was like, I'm okay with Sugar Ray. No. But interesting thing about Sugar Ray, if you've ever listened to the song She Falls Apart on 1459, that song, and I'm no musician anymore. I used to play trombone in middle school. But cool. I'm pretty sure every aspect of that song is out of tune. The vocals are out of tune. The guitar is out of tune. It's all out of tune. I heard it in a store, and I was like, this whole thing's out of tune. Everything in the guitar right off the bat is like, it's just slightly off, and they put it out. It was a single.
Sugar Ray is just a really bad band.
Yeah, sure.
Like every one of their songs is bad.
Whoa, that's strong. That's strong.
I'll stick by it.
Matt, are you?
I'm ready to play Leech demo version.
Leech, yes, yeah, we're almost done. So Leech, demo version. Though I've never heard a full version of this. I'm not aware of one. That's crunchy riff. That's a crunchy riff. That's a riff that you can take a bite out of.
This one's a little samey to me. This one feels like.
I feel like Indigo Flow is the real end of the album, and then they were like, we got to get 13 tracks for some reason, and so they had this. Yeah, I mean, it's got the momentum.
They do make a Chuck Norris reference in this song, so maybe they started that trend.
Oh God,
which needs to stop. By the way,
you guys, here's the funny thing about Chuck Norris: none of his movies are good. He's actually a shitty action star. People always talk about him as if they've seen any of his movies, and they all stink. And yeah.
And Walker, Texas Ranger wasn't good either.
Yeah, that was a bad show. Leech is, I mean, I feel like them putting this asterisk demo version is an interesting like decision. Like I don't know, like as if they were worried, like don't worry, official version comes later, which it never did.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I
Not
think
that I'm aware of.
But what comes next on this album,
Yeah.
it's like when someone you love is doing something you hate.
Right. And this is something that you would never, like when we were telling people, like, oh, you know, the last song on the first Limp Bizkit album is a psychedelic jam out for 11 minutes. They're like, no, it isn't.
Isn't it? Is it 11 or
Is it
it
11?
longer?
How long is this song?
This song is 16 minutes and 27 seconds.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
Yeah.
I lowballed them.
Yeah, time flies though when you're listening to this. You know what I don't like?
What's that?
When bands that are not riffy psychedelic bands try to go on big psychedelic riffy moments. I'm not feeling it.
The funny thing is, Fred Durst doesn't strike me, and he's even said, I mean, there's a lyric on one of the later albums where he's like, I don't smoke weed, but I love the way it smells. And I believe that. Fred Durst doesn't strike me as the type of guy that's going to light up a J. He might, and honestly, he doesn't even really strike me as a guy that gets drunk anymore. Like maybe back in the day, but now I feel like the way I look at Fred Durst is that Fred Durst, in his salesman hustler mode, he's like, I can't get drunk. I got to keep my eye on the prize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he lights up a J either, Lauren.
What, am I showing my age and squareness?
You're showing your...
Do you think that Wes demanded they do this track?
Probably.
Maybe. It's funny though, because I feel like there's not much in the rest of the repertoire that would indicate this is something that maybe this is maybe what he was feeling at the time, but it's nothing that he's done since. There's nothing on any of the other albums where they do this.
I get the sense that this track was for the rest of the band. Like, this was probably something that was fun for them, you know?
Yeah.
And and then, you know, it's doesn't sound like Leech. It doesn't sound like that at all.
It doesn't.
So.
Yeah. And you know what? For a 16-minute outro song, no crying.
No.
And no surprise voicemail message from a man yelling at his wife about a Dodge Dart.
That is, that's so very true.
Yeah.
So very true.
I mean, also, I feel like this is just them letting them know, listen, we're going to jam out for the next 16 minutes. You can hang with us, or you can go. And that's just what's going to happen here with your old friends in Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, they're letting the screen door gently shut behind.
Credits are rolling. You're flipping through the liner notes now, you know? You're noticing that this crazy clown drawing on the back has a Wes Borland credit on the bottom for the art.
Good
There
for
you go.
Wes.
Yeah.
You're filling out your mail-in sheet
Yes.
to be on the mailing list, unless you're Lorin, who still has his.
I didn't cut it out. I know. I didn't cut it out. So that is $3 bill, y'all. It's got to go in the canon.
It's in the canon.
It's in the canon.
It's in the
It's in the
canon.
canon. It's probably one of the best first albums in the genre.
It's great.
It's great.
I was so scared after last episode when I thought I was okay with the album, but as we started talking to it, I was just like filled with rage about how terrible this album is.
Yeah.
I'm happy to report that did not happen this time.
No.
Only cemented my love.
Yes. But it's just, this band, Fred Durst be damned, but this band is there backing them up with just solid licks and great tunes.
Yeah. And you know what? It's like I listen to it and I love it. And if somebody's like, oh, this is terrible, like I can see the things about it that are dumb.
Absolutely.
But I don't care. And I feel like they genuinely like what they're doing so much that, I don't know, that like appeals to me.
For sure. Absolutely.
In the canon. The canon.
In the canon. Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that brings us to the end of episode 2. We officially have joining Chutes and Ladders and Blind in the canon is Limp Bizkit's entire first album.
Even the last 16-minute jam out track.
You know what? Why? Because they were feeling it, and that's fine. Jen, thank you once again for joining me.
Lorin, thank you.
And Matt, Naas, thank you for helping us with this, and thank you. How do you feel about Limp Bizkit after all of this?
I expected not to like it at all, and there were moments I enjoyed.
Hey.
Hey!
All right.
All right!
I'll
Take
take
that,
it.
new metal canon.
That's
Yeah.
right.
All right.
All right.
And I was happy that I got to play Suicidal Tendencies for you guys.
Hey.
Hey,
Thanks, man.
thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. All right, until next time, I'm Lorin.
I'm Jen.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Roach Koach
Podcast.
on all day, every day. It's the Roach Koach
Podcast.
all day, every day.